Hi, everybody. I found a new book for us today, and it's called Sweet Dream Pie. It's by Audrey Wood and Mark Teague. I love this book, but I always say that, don't I? So, it was almost dawn on Willoughby Street when Pa Brindle lit the lantern and led Ma Brindle up to their dark attic to an old trunk draped in cobwebs. I haven't slept a wink tonight, Pa said. I've been craving a piece of sweet dream pie, just like the one you made long ago. The last time I made that pie, you ate too much, Ma grumbled, and your dreams weren't sweet. Pa Brindle blew the cobwebs off the trunk, then threw it open, and all the cats in the neighborhoods opened one eye. An enormous mixing bowl, a great rolling pin, a gigantic pie pan, and a small brass bell glistened in the lantern light. I'll be good this time, Pa promised. One big piece of sweet dream pie. That's all I want. Well then, I'll make it, and you help, Ma agreed. But if things get out of hand again, don't blame me. The Brindles carried the extra large utensils down to the kitchen and began to make the pie. When the dough was ready, Ma rolled it out on the table, and when she did, all the people on Willoughby Street, including little Amy McPherson, rolled out of their beds and onto their floors. Next, Ma fashioned great pie crusts. Then the Brindles began to toss every sweet thing they could find into the enormous mixing bowl. Gumdrops flew through the air and rained down with marshmallows, candy corn, cinnamon hearts, chewing gum, chocolate drops, butterscotch, licorice sticks, lollipops, sugar cubes, and jelly beans, candy sprinkles, cookies, and more. Oh, yum! Clouds of powdered sugar drifted out of the windows into the street. A chocolate tornado sprang up and whirled out the door, knocking down little Johnny Lunds, who was trying to deliver newspapers on his bicycle. The enormous mixing bowl began to glow. A thick, sweet syrup bubbled up and oozed down the sides. The Brindles poured the filling into the giant pie pan and then wrestled the top crust into place. Ma crimped the edges and Pa poked the steam holes, and the crust began to move as if things inside were trying to get out. Pa shoved the pie into the oven and slammed the door. Quickly he turned the oven dial past bake, past broil, and roast to a setting that simply said, special. As the sun rose, the oven warmed, and a heat wave hit Willoughby Street. It was too hot to go to work or to school, so everyone stayed home doing cool things. Even little Mary Chubb, who had never missed a day at the library in 15 years, she just lounged beneath her sunflower. By noon, the delicious smell of Ma Brindle's sweet dream pie blanketed the neighborhood with a blissful aroma. Everyone was simply drooling to taste that pie, even baby Robbie. Robbie stuck out his tongue, thinking he could lick the sweetness from the air. The heat was raged on into the afternoon. It was so hot, all the air conditioners stopped working. Uh-oh. No one was cool except for Perry Arbuckle, who filled his bathtub in his conservatory with ice cubes and then sat in it. As the sun set, the sweet dream pie browned, and the sky burned a fiery red above Willoughby Street. It was too hot to eat much, so everyone just picked a dinner and thought about that pie cooking in Mom's kitchen. That evening, all the neighbors found an excuse to stop by the Brindles' house. Pa set up tables and colored lights outside and invited everyone to stay and share his spectacular dessert. They were all thrilled except little Amy McPherson. Amy couldn't eat pie because it made her sneeze. The dogs jumped up and down and began to chase their tails. Ma Brindle rang the small brass bell. Ding, 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 ding. It's time for sweet dream pie, she called. And Pa Brindle and Johnny Lund carried the pie out and set it down. Steam rose up from the pie, and a thick fog settled over the neighborhood. Standing side by side, the Brindles blew upon the pie to cool it. A welcome breeze sprang up, whirling napkins and party plates into the air and clearing the fog. For the first time in 13 hours, Willoughby Street cooled down. Ma cut the pie as the neighbors lined up. Now be careful, she warned. This pie is very rich. One piece is all you need. No one had ever tasted anything like Ma Brindle's sweet dream pie. It was so sweet, happy tears just rolled down everyone's cheeks. Don't eat too much, Ma kept saying. Only one piece or you'll be sorry. But nobody listened. They all helped themselves to sweet thirds and fourths, and Pa Brindle broke his promise. He gobbled down sweet sixths and even sevenths. Poor Inky King ate so much that he looked like he'd swallowed a bowling ball in his belly. When Myrtle Murphy's parrot pecked up the very last crumb, a hush settled upon Willoughby Street. The neighbors thanked Ma and Pa for sharing their wonderful pie, and suddenly all they wanted to do was go home and snuggle in their cozy beds. Some made it, and others dozed off along the way. Ma Brindle shook her head in dismay. Oh, after all that sweetness, she said, no one will rest well tonight. And then she went inside to get her broom. That's when the dreaming began. Pa Brindle's dream was the first to pop out. Bigger than a dump truck, it galloped through the neighborhood, whistling for the others to follow. Dreams of every shape and size and color drifted up from their dreamers and began to sport and play. All of the dreamers on Willoughby Street tossed and turned in their restless sleep. Oh dear. Ma Brindle had never seen so many wild dreams. They were everywhere and into everything. The dreams were too happy and too excited, doing things they shouldn't be doing. When enough was enough, Ma took up her broom and began to sweep, sweep, sweep until she had swept away every last dream from Willoughby Street. All the dreamers, including Pa Brindle, sighed with relief and finally settled in for a good night's sleep. And from her bedroom window, little Amy McPherson watched it all. And for once in her life, she was glad she could eat no pie. I hope you liked it. I'll see you soon.